Thank you, Luigi, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, colleagues in RAP and whoever is joining us by Skype. We do not have great participation here, I'm afraid. Two more people just joining us, including our ADG. Welcome. But we will start anyway, and we hope that more people will be trickling in. So the topic of today's webinar is Youth in Sustainable Development, the Innovations in Agriculture and Forestry. And as you know, this is part of the activities of the Forestry Technical Network, sharing information, sharing knowledge, and encouraging discussion among colleagues about topics that are important to us. And I would like to start by giving a big thank you to our colleagues in RAP, especially Yurdi and Maria, who have been organizing this and who have proposed the topic and who will also be presenting this to us today. We believe that youth is definitely an important topic for all of us. It's being given increasing attention in FAO and also in the Forestry Department. And we had a number of recent events in forestry where we had a very strong youth participation, including the International Conference on Halting Deforestation that took place in February, as well as COFO itself. And this thread of strengthening youth participation will also continue throughout the year. There will be a youth event at the upcoming Global Forum on Urban Forests. So again, thank you, Yurdi and Maria, for proposing this topic. And my understanding is that the presentation is about an innovative project in RAP that is led by the forestry team there. And the project is called Building Coalition with Youth in Sustainable Development through Agriculture and Forestry. This is being implemented in 3 countries, Nepal, Philippines, and Viet Nam. And even though it's a small project, it has a huge potential for further engaging with youth and for having a larger impact. We will be starting with a presentation on the project, and then I understand there will also be some short videos from the countries. And then we will have time for questions and answers from the audience. So with that, I give the floor to Yurdi and Maria for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva. Good morning to colleagues in Rome. Thank you for taking time and also for your interest in this webinar. I also would like to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon to colleagues who are joining, I think, from other 13 locations, including our group leaders, Thomas Hofer from China, and other colleagues of RAP or FOA that, and also our partners in the region. So as Eva introduced, this is a sharing of experience of our project with regard to youth. Some of you know already that at RAP, forestry team here has worked with youth for many years. I think for even over a decade through Kids to Forest program. This specific program is that we are going to introduce and share with you is an innovative program at RAP that was initiated in 2017, last year. So let me go to my presentation. Now I will switch the screen, and I hope you can see it from your own screen. If you don't, please let me know. So can you give me a sign that you can see the screen?
Loading.
Yes?
It's still loading, but we can see. Greetings from Bettina.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
We can see the screen.
Yes, we can see it now.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I will start. So as I introduced, this is one of the youth projects that we are doing, building on our long-term experience in forestry team working on kids to forest. So in this presentation, we will divide the discussion into 4 parts. In the first part, I will explain to you where we are coming from and the background of this project. And then I will continue to give a generic overview about youth in Asia and the Pacific and challenges that they are facing. And then we move on to the third part, which is the project activities and the results from these 3 countries. We had hope without technological glitch, we can switch to the video to this. And after the videos, we also would like to explain to you key lesson learned and take away points from these 3 countries. Just in case if we have problems with videos, we can also skip the videos and give you explanation through our slides. So this is plan B. Finally, Maria, Paula, and I will draw some lesson learned, implications, and also some points of discussion on moving forward. Here, we would like to hear your feedback. Okay, so just to give you the background of how this project came to being, in early 2017, there was a call from RAP management to propose on innovative proposals of new projects, cross-disciplinaries, cross-sectors, and interesting. So that was the call about. So from the forestry team here, we were actually proposing a project that is titled Building Coalition with Youth in Sustainable Development through Agriculture, Forestry, and Fishery. That was the original title, but after country selection, we found out that it was only possible to work with youth on 2 sectors, agriculture and forestry. As explained by Eva, our proposal was accepted, and then it was agreed to be funded with the fund, very small, $62,000 US, and to be implemented in 3 countries, Nepal, Philippines, and then Vietnam. The timeline was also relatively short because it was a project that is meant, to trigger innovation and to build on what we have done before. It was started in July 2018 and it was finalized in July 2017. Sorry about this problem, and finalized in March 2018. Okay, now the main objectives of the projects are 3-fold. The first one is to demonstrate Hello?
For those who are not in the meeting, please mute your microphone. Go ahead, Yurdi.
Okay, so the 3 objectives of the projects are to demonstrate youth engagement in sustainable agriculture and forestry. Here we would really like to see the potentiality of youth in these 2 sectors. And the second objective is to raise awareness on the role of youth in sustainability or sustainable development. And last but not least, to show how youth can be strong partners in sustainable development. As you know, every organization, particularly the UN agencies, are now talking about sustainable development goals, and youth is an important element in this endeavor. This is our approach. The first thing is that we give a lot of flexibility to the country team to design this youth project. So in each country, they establish a national kind of team, small one, to decide what to do and also to select most innovative youth projects in each country. Later on, Maria Paula will explain what the activities in each country, but in short, in each country there have been, years, judges by different national entities to get this project in the country up and running. The second, although we gave this flexibility to each country, there are common elements of this project in each country. The first element is or the innovative youth project demonstration. So in each country, there are a couple of or several projects being implemented by youth or youth organization and cooperative. The second common part is storytelling of the youth or from the youth. In this part, we actually have several approaches. In a country like Nepal, we took this to a different sites to learn about activities in different districts, and then they also see FAO, what FAO as a UN agency is doing to support sustainability, and based on their observation and discussion with stakeholders, including local communities, youth in that villages, they actually tell their own story or impression in their local language. And also they publish this in various outlets such as local media, radio, and other reports. The third common element is the documentation of the youth activities in each country, where we requested each country to develop a short video, which we will show to you pretty soon. So these videos reflect their main activities, how they have established these ideas and projects, and what are their impression about their engagement in sustainable agriculture and forestry. I would like to mention our key partners. In Nepal, we were working with Forest Action. In the Philippines, we were working with Yakap Kalikasan. In Vietnam, we are working with MART, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Of course, there are other partners in the implementation of these projects, including governments and CSOs, and some are also from research institutions. So now I have explained to you very briefly where the project is coming from, the objective and the approach. Now I would like to give you a little bit of the broader pictures about the youth today. As you know, the world is youthful than ever. We have more young people this time compared to before, not only because of the mortality rate increase, prosperity, but also there are many other factors. Of course, in some countries, particularly in the more developed world, the populations are aging and they don't have enough youth. 1.8 billion young people today are in our world, based on certain information, and close to 90% of them live in developing countries. And more than 1/5 of young people are not having decent employment, education, or training to the full potential of their dream. In Asia and the Pacific region, we have 60% of the world youth. So this region is very important when we are talking about youth empowerment or youth engagement. In the boxes, you will see why it is very important for us to work with youth. Yeah? We all know they are agents of social change. Almost every innovation in the world has come from the youth. Youth are source of ideas and solution to many of our problems. So the critical sector for successful implementation of SDGs, we also expect contribution of the youth. Despite all these potentials and also power of the youth, we also observe in this project the disconnect between youth and the environment. On the left-hand side of the slide, you see youth activities, how they innovate in agriculture and forestry. On the right-hand side, you see the environment or the rural areas or the villages. Between the two, the youth and the environment, there are disconnects. There are three main factors that we have learned from this project that actually exacerbate this disconnect. The first main factor is the lack of economic incentive for youth to engage in agriculture and forestry. Usually, employment in agriculture and forestry is considered low-salaried employment. The youth also lack of capital to start their forestry and agriculture activities. And when they also do the agriculture and forestry activity, they have a very low return. The second main reason is the unfavorable social conditions. In many society, there is social insecurity of the youth, inaccessibility to social services of the youth, underrepresentation in the governance when decisions are made. Youth are often not part of this. The low perception of doing rural work among youth, and the dream of youth to have a better future in non-rural context. And also with the rural connection to market access, make youth have less incentive to work in agriculture and forestry. Last but not least is the environmental barriers. We all now talk about climate change. Youth are impacted on this as well, especially they are the future generation. Agriculture and forestry are impacted. There are a lot of issues with regard to drought, landslides, changing weather patterns, floods, and things like this that also impact agriculture and forestry a lot. That makes the youth, think twice to engage in agriculture and forestry. Of course, we should also not forget there are pest and diseases issues in agriculture and forestry as a result of climate change. Yes, that being said, we should not close our eyes that agriculture and forestry can also be part of solution to the environmental issues like climate change. Now, the marginalization of youth is a real issue from agriculture and forestry. We have witnessed young, migration of workers moving for search of new livelihood in cities or urban centers. Based on our readings, more than 200 million youth in the world live also in extreme poverty, in the family that live on $1 a day. So this is a dire picture of the youth in our world today. In developing countries, including in developing countries in Asia and the Pacific, an estimated of 2/3 of the youth are not fulfilling their economic potential. This means that when they are coming into a productive age, they don't get decent jobs, they don't get the job that is adequate to their skill, or they are unemployed. So I hope I have given you the background to this project and also the wider context of this project. Now, with your permission, I would like to suggest we move to the 3 short videos. The links are sent to you to the Skype address, and also to our colleagues in the headquarters, you have a specific link.
Thanh niên chính là tương lai của phát triển bền vững, an ninh lương thực và nông nghiệp. Người nông dân là các chủ hộ nhỏ, đang ở độ tuổi già hóa, ít có khả năng tiếp nhận công nghệ sáng tạo để tăng sản lượng nông nghiệp bền vững. Việc khuyến khích sự tham gia của giới thanh niên trong lĩnh vực nông nghiệp đã và đang trở thành một chủ đề nổi bật trong thời gian gần đây, được đưa vào chương trình nghị sự phát triển, xuất phát từ những quan ngại toàn cầu rằng nông nghiệp không phải là một lĩnh vực việc làm thu hút đối với phần lớn thanh niên trên thế giới. Vì vậy, việc khuyến khích giới thanh niên để họ thấy viễn cảnh tươi sáng trong ngành nông nghiệp, đồng thời vận động ủng hộ họ phát triển sự nghiệp trong lĩnh vực này là thực sự cần thiết. Để thúc đẩy việc tiếp cận với công nghệ sáng tạo và khích lệ thanh niên tự định hình tương lai cho chính mình, Tổ chức Nông lương thuộc Liên Hợp Quốc tại Việt Nam đã thực hiện dự án tăng cường kết nối với thanh niên trong phát triển nông lâm ngư nghiệp bền vững. Trung tuần tháng 9 năm 2017, cuộc thi ý tưởng sáng tạo của thanh niên trong phát triển nông nghiệp bền vững được phát động. Ban tổ chức đã nhận được 22 ý tưởng sáng tạo của các bạn trẻ, trong đó 2 ý tưởng xuất sắc nhất đã giành được giải nhất và giải nhì. Đó là ý tưởng chăn nuôi và trồng trọt khép kín theo phương thức hữu cơ của tác giả Đinh Tuyết Nhung, xã Yến Dương, huyện Ba Bể, và ý tưởng liên kết tổ hợp tác sản xuất rau củ quả an toàn của nhóm tác giả gồm 9 người, đại diện là anh Lương Đình Hùng, xã Như Cố, huyện Chợ Mới. Bên cạnh việc trao giải thưởng tiền mặt dành cho 2 dự án trên và hỗ trợ kỹ thuật trong quá trình triển khai, toàn bộ thành viên tham dự cuộc thi đều được dự chương trình đào tạo nâng cao năng lực về các kỹ năng thực hành canh tác hiệu quả trong nông nghiệp bền vững, học hỏi và trao đổi kinh nghiệm phát triển canh tác và kinh doanh nông nghiệp. Đây là mô hình kinh tế của chị Đinh Tuyết Nhung cùng chồng và bố mẹ ở xã Yến Dương, huyện Ba Bể. Gia đình chị bắt đầu chăn nuôi lợn từ lâu nhưng quy mô nhỏ, hiệu quả chưa cao. Do đó, chị Nhung đã quyết định áp dụng một vài đổi mới vào mô hình kinh tế của gia đình, mở rộng quy mô và đa dạng hóa sản xuất một cách bền vững, đồng thời giảm được chi phí. Thông qua dự án chăn nuôi lợn thịt, gà ta và gà đen của người Mông và trồng rau gia vị theo phương thức hữu cơ, chị đã đưa được mô hình kinh tế khép kín vào thực tiễn canh tác.
Em nói chung là về làm thế này thì cũng là trái ngành, không phải chuyên ngành của em học, nhưng mà cũng do là mình có một cái đam mê sở thích và thấy trên địa bàn tỉnh Bắc Kạn thì cũng còn khá nhiều tiềm năng để mình phát triển về ngành lĩnh vực nông nghiệp. Nên là em cũng qua tìm hiểu trên các trang mạng rồi bạn bè rồi em cũng có, ví dụ như là bố mẹ mình đã qua từng trải thì em cũng học hỏi nhiều để cho mình hoàn thiện hơn.
Với ý tưởng tận dụng những nông sản dư thừa sẵn có tại địa phương, chị Nhung đã áp dụng quy mô sản xuất theo mô hình khép kín. Nuôi giun quế từ phân thải của chăn nuôi, sản phẩm từ giun quế đem nuôi gà, lợn. Phân giun quế dùng để trồng rau gia vị, giúp giảm chi phí chăn nuôi một cách đáng kể, đồng thời duy trì sản xuất bền vững. Ngoài ra, phân thải của lợn có thể được sử dụng cho mô hình khí sinh học quy mô nhỏ, đủ cung cấp năng lượng cho 2 hộ gia đình để nấu ăn và nguồn điện. Nhận thấy nhiều lợi thế về đất nông nghiệp của địa phương, nhu cầu cao của thị trường về rau quả an toàn và nhu cầu cấp bách để tạo ra cơ hội việc làm cho thanh niên, anh Lương Đình Hùng đã vận động gia đình chuyển đổi đất nông nghiệp của gia đình mình để xây dựng mô hình trồng rau. Năm 2017, Tổ hợp tác rau an toàn thanh niên Như Cố ra đời và bắt tay làm thí điểm mô hình trồng rau tại thôn Nà Trào, xã Như Cố, với hơn 6.000 m2 đất ruộng. Nhờ có giải thưởng từ cuộc thi ý tưởng sáng tạo của thanh niên do Tổ chức Nông lương Liên Hợp Quốc tổ chức cùng với vốn đối ứng, tổ hợp tác đã mở rộng quy mô sản xuất trên diện tích 1,2 ha với các loại cây chủ yếu như dưa lưới, cà chua, dưa lê, dưa chuột, mướp đắng rừng và thanh long ruột đỏ.
Chúng tôi nhận thấy là cái vai trò của đoàn viên thanh niên trong phát triển kinh tế nông nghiệp rất là quan trọng. Tôi cũng tranh thủ những cơ hội cũng như là cái bối cảnh mà kinh tế hội nhập thì đứng ra để làm sao quy tụ những bạn đoàn viên thanh niên cũng như là các hộ gia đình mà kinh tế đã vững mạnh để tập hợp lại thành một cái tổ nhóm sở thích cũng như là tổ hợp tác để phát triển kinh tế, để lấy đây là một cái mô hình điểm cho toàn đoàn viên thanh niên xã cùng thực hiện.
Hợp tác xã sẽ cung cấp rau củ quả an toàn ra thị trường và tạo việc làm cho người dân và lực lượng thanh niên địa phương, những người thường di cư đến các thành phố lân cận để tìm kiếm việc làm và cuộc sống tốt hơn. Trong tương lai, việc nhân rộng cơ hội cho thanh thiếu niên thông qua các khóa đào tạo và tham quan mô hình thực hành tốt này cũng được lên kế hoạch. Nhiều thanh niên Bắc Kạn cùng với thế hệ trẻ Việt Nam nói chung hiện vẫn đang tìm con đường lập nghiệp cho bản thân. Dự án tăng cường kết nối với thanh niên trong phát triển nông lâm ngư nghiệp bền vững, cho thấy nông nghiệp là một cơ hội nghề nghiệp có triển vọng, đồng thời thể hiện tiềm năng của thanh niên trong việc chuyển đổi ngành nông nghiệp và phát triển bền vững bằng cách áp dụng các công nghệ mới và ý tưởng sáng tạo.
Agriculture is the backbone of Philippine society that feeds nearly 105 million Filipinos. Thus, the need to sustain this food source for the present and future generations. The youth will inherit this concern for food security.
Young people ages 15 to 30 comprise almost 30% or 29 million of the Philippine population as 2015. Those living in rural areas are often marginalized as a result of problems such as poverty, food insecurity, discrimination, displacement, and lack of education and opportunities.
Fast industrial and technological advancements have shifted youth interest away from agriculture to more corporate-leaning job opportunities.
Agriculture offers many employment opportunities, yet young people are discouraged due to hardship and low income associated with farming. But by their numbers alone, there is tremendous potential for youth to be involved in ensuring a sustainable future for the country.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, is implementing a project with a local NGO, Yakap Kalikasan, encouraging youth involvement in sustainable development. Through this project, 3 youth groups grew vegetables and herbs right in their own backyards and schoolyards through simple and inexpensive ways.
Ang mga tanim po namin dito ay ang madalas namin kinakain sa aming bahay. Ang mga bago na sa aming panlasa ay ang coriander o wansoy, pipino, lettuce.
Gumagamit po kami ng recyclable materials upang mga patapon na bagay sa amin ay magagamit namin sa garden muli at mapapakinabangan. Katulad ng plastic bottles, jeans, sapatos, fan cover, gulong at iba pa.
This healthy produce in the school youth gardens supply the school's feeding program, ensuring more nutritious food for the students.
Dahil ito po ay nagbibigay sa amin ng fresh vegetables na readily available po na nandiyan lang sa school, very nutritious po, at hindi na po siya kailangang bilhin.
Ang mga kinakain naming gulay, okra, talong, pechay, at marami pang iba. Ang mga gulay na ito ay masustansya at masarap.
These youth gardens are examples of how small backyards, abandoned spaces, garbage dumps, or urban areas can be converted into something useful, attractive, and productive.
Inago po namin yung idea na tambakan lang po ng garbage itong tabihan ng building namin dito, and we turned it into organic gardening place.
The gardens also serve as a learning laboratory of students.
Ginagamit po namin ito as laboratory, part po ng aming curriculum para po gamiting research laboratory sa science.
This youth-driven gardening resulted in more responsible youth and more capable young leaders.
There is a need to revive the youth's interest to pursue farming as a profession, for it is vital to future food security and agricultural development. FAO is working to encourage and engage young people to be the next generation of farmers, food entrepreneurs, scientists, agronomists, extension workers, and government leaders.
Dati po, dito sa village namin, hindi po kami magkakakilala. Pero po, nung nagkaroon ng orientation, mas nakilala po namin yung isa't isa at natuto po kami mag-gardening para sa pagkain namin.
Kami po ay modelo ng isang youth organization para po sa organic gardening.
Kami po yung naglilinis ito, nagbabantay po. Tsaka po, tumulong po kami sa pagplano po nitong layout ng garden. Yung mga gulay po, dinadala po namin sa feeding program po namin. Tsaka po, naibebenta po siya para po sa pondo ng YESO.
Everything was a learning process, a combination of seeing, reflecting, and adapting. The youth have already brought the gardening technologies into their own homes, involving now other members of the family.
Nag-adapt po kami ng vertical gardening sa harap ng bahay namin kahit may maliit na spasyo para makatipid sa pang-araw-araw na gastusin at meron pang araw-araw na
ulam.
We believe that the youth can really contribute in the promotion of sustainable development, especially in addressing the need for food, healthy life, equal opportunity for education, and the sustainable environment. And this is the youth empowerment.
Our future is in the hands of the youth.
केही वर्ष यता विदेशबाट नेपाल फर्केका युवाहरूले आफ्नै ठाउँमा भएको स्रोत साधनको आधारमा रहेर कृषि तथा वनमा आधारित उद्यममा लागेको पाइन्छ। उनीहरूको जाँगर र परिश्रम देखेर विदेश जान तयार भएको युवाहरू पनि स्वदेशमा नै केही गरौँ भन्ने सोचले कृषि कर्ममा लागेका छन्।
आफ्नै थोरै जमिनमा पनि सानो अलिकति 50-60 हजार लगानी गरेर गरेँ। त्यसबाट मेरो आम्दानी यस्तो राम्रो भयो कि अब चाहिँ यो खेती गर्यो भने अझ धेरै राम्रो हुनेछ।
काभ्रे बेथानचोकका कृष्ण प्रसाद तिमल सिन्हा धेरै आम्दानी गर्ने सोचका साथ वैदेशिक रोजगारीका लागि मलेसिया र साउदी गएर धेरै दुःख पाउनुभयो। अहिले उहाँ उन्नत जातको भैँसी पालनबाट उल्टै वार्षिक रूपमा 4 लाखसम्म बचत गर्न सफल हुनुहुन्छ।
विदेश जानु साटो बरु यसलाई चाहिँ म आधुनिक तरिकाले पाल्छु, अलि उन्नत किसिमका पशु पाल्छु, उत्पादन बढी लिन्छु जस्तो लागेर अनि मैले चाहिँ यहाँ यो व्यवसाय सुरु गरेँ हो।
काभ्रे खोपासीका सुमन उलकले अर्काको जमिन भाडामा लिएर च्याउ खेती गर्नुभएको छ। उहाँले आफू बाहेक अन्य 9 युवालाई पनि रोजगारी दिनुभएको छ।
9-10 जनालाई त हामीले रेगुलर रोजगार दिन सकेका छौँ।
नवलपरासी देउरालीका तेजबहादुर गुरुङ गाउँमै नमुना किसानको रूपमा परिचित हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँ व्यावसायिक रूपमा बाख्रा पालन, भैँसी पालनदेखि बेमौसमी तरकारी खेती गरी मनज्ञ आम्दानी लिन सफल हुनुभएको छ।
5 गट्ठा आफ्नो जग्गामा टमाटर खेती मात्रै लाछौ भने बाँकी 10 गट्ठा लिजमा लिएर मैले तरकारीमा चाहिने यो घिउ सिमी, काउली, बन्दा, आलु यसरी व्यवसाय हिसाबले खेती गरेको छु सर।
अहिले नेपाली युवा किसानहरूको सृजनशीलतालाई राज्यले सम्मान पनि गर्न थालेको छ।
जति पनि हाम्रा कार्यक्रमहरू छन् युवा नै लक्षित कार्यक्रमहरू नै हुन् र त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीहरूले वास्तवमा नीतिगत सहयोगदेखि लिएर गएर वस्तुगत सहयोगमा पनि सब्सिडीका कुराहरू र त्यसको व्यवसाय प्रवर्धनको निम्ति चाहिँ सरकारले चाहिँ टेक्निकल सपोर्टको कुराहरू र कृषि अनुसन्धान पनि त्योसित जोडिएर सप्लाई गर्ने कुराहरू र इनपुटमा पनि सहयोग जुटाउने कुराहरू, इनपुटको व्यवस्थापन गर्ने कामहरूमा चाहिँ नेपाल सरकारले लगाइरहेको चाहिँ स्थिति हो।
Government has, planned some of the activities. Government has, enacted some of the policy level interventions. Government has proposed some of the rules and the regulations. They have given some options like giving some loans and grants for the youth.
We have addressed this issue by particularly support the government in coming up with the sound policy, have some initiative or supporting program to enhance the youth employment and rural development in the country, so that it will provide a livelihood and choice for the community or rural community that would prefer to stay. This will also enhance the food security of the country.
नवलपरासी जिल्लाको सुनवल र रूपैलिया क्षेत्र तथा काभ्रेको नाला र पनौतीका युवा कृषकहरूले विदेशमा सिकेको सिप र प्रविधिलाई भन्दा पनि त्यहाँ गरेको मेहनतबाट पाठ सिकेर तरकारी, गाई, बाख्रा, भैँसी पालन, च्याउ, मौरी, लप्सीको माडा, बाबियोको डोरी, ब्रिगेड लगायतका विभिन्न उद्यम गरेर जीविकोपार्जनबाट गरेको सफलताबाट अन्य युवाहरूले पनि पाठ सिकेर उद्यमशीलतामा लागेका छन्।
Thank you very much for watching this. Might not be able to see them completely because of the technical connection. But I understand that colleagues in the headquarters could see this. Can you confirm this, Luigi?
Yes, we were able to watch them.
Okay. Now, for the colleagues who are from the headquarters or from other places, we will share with you key lessons learned about these 3 projects. Although you did not see the videos completely, but Paula will tell you the key lesson learned of this project. So I hand over now to Paula, Maria Paula. Maria, please.
Hi, I'm Maria Paula. Good morning, good afternoon to our FAO colleagues, and also I think we have guests from non-FAO institutions out there. So hello to all of you. So it's Halloween, I think. So happy Halloween. So earlier, Yurdi gave the challenges of youth engagement, all the problems that we face. So it's a trick. And now I'm going to give you a treat that there is still hope. There's a lot of opportunity with youth engagement, and with the videos and cases you have seen earlier, you've seen that there's still a way to engage youth to agriculture and forestry. So in Vietnam, this is a very one of our top choice of countries because of it's an agricultural country, and also a lot of youth are still losing aspiration for agriculture and forestry. So a big chunk of the population is still young. What they did in Vietnam is they launched a competition and also asked for business proposals. And these ideas should contain sustainable practices for agriculture. And in the video earlier, you've met Din Tuyet Nung, who is a young farmer living in the Yen Duong commune. And her parents used to raise pigs, but with this single activity in their farm, the profit is very low. So what she did is to scale up the farming and not only raising pigs, but only chicken, and also producing fresh herbs. And she used this, she produced this farming into a closed cycle, which is more of a circular economy type of production. So there's a cost reduction and also a more sustainable approach in terms of limiting the waste and also making use of it. And the next entry to this competition, which was awarded during the World Food Day last year in Vietnam, is the Youth Safe Vegetable Cooperative. So you've seen in the video earlier is that this was established by 9 young people from a commune in Vietnam, which aimed to provide job opportunities and to involve more young people in the local production of organic vegetable that will supply to their community. It also brings more young people to this kind of activity and to provide what they are capable of providing. Like if the person is good in marketing or in social media or in agriculture, in growing vegetables itself, they can be engaged in this cooperative and provide what is his or her expertise. And then in the future, they want to expand further their cultivated land to scale up production, maybe provide other crops, and also to train more local youth. The next country that we have seen earlier is the Philippines, and Philippines is a youthful country because it is a home to 20 million young Filipinos, and it is projected further to increase in the next decade. So in 2030, there will be 22 million young Filipinos and 24 million young Filipinos in 2050. And in the Philippines, this is also very fun and innovative because they engage 3 youth groups, one in the community, elementary, and also some high school students. And through an innovative minds and sustainable development workshop, they were able to gather these young people and shell out ideas on what could be a sustainable design of a backyard and school lot garden that could provide nutritional, that could provide vegetables and crops to the nutrition program of the school. And also, these young people were brought to the northern part of the Philippines for a field trip or an exposure to an FAO field site where they were demonstrated how sustainable practices of agriculture are done. So in the video, you've seen that school lots and backyards are more now productive in the Philippines, in this community in the Philippines. And these are converted using recyclable materials and also with the efforts of the community and the schools. These stories are published in newspapers, in community and national newspapers, and also they raise awareness of the potential engagement of youth through social media, and they have conducted a forum. And in Nepal, there's a lot of young people, but they also face a problem of exodus of these young people. So it is very enticing for the Nepali youth to go to Gulf countries or in Malaysia to find employment there, hotel and restaurant management, and other types of services. So there's a big 37% actually of agricultural land in Nepal is abandoned. So there's a big implication to food security and also the productivity of agricultural land in Nepal. So this has caused changing in livelihood patterns, this out-migration of young people. So what we've done in Nepal is we have selected youth entrepreneurs and in 2 districts in Nepal. And with these young entrepreneurs, we have provided avenues for networking through an exchange program. They were able to share skills and other potential ventures for their land. Also, we have selected 4 entrepreneurs to receive support for upscaling their existing enterprises, such as we have provided support to goat or cow shed construction, and also for equipment for lapsi candy making. And so what have we learned from these 3 countries is that youth can, there's still hope to engage more youth in sustainable agriculture and forestry. If only we provide more incentives for young people to conduct these activities. And also there are still lack in legal frameworks in terms of long-term support for this kinds of programs and for youth development. And lastly, we should not put the youth in a bubble. The youth is still part of all the challenges that we're tackling here in FAO and also in the development sector. And they are further marginalized with these challenges, such as unclear land tenure, food insecurity, and the climate and environmental challenges. Now I hope I've provided justice to this very interesting project. I hand over the floor to Yurdi.
Okay, thank you, Maria Paula. Now we will come to the last slides of our presentation. These are the 3 points that I would like to leave you with, and we would like to get your feedback on this. Before I come to these 3 points, I would like to reiterate that investment in youth is investment for sustainable development. So let's not leave the youth behind in our effort to achieve sustainable development goals. The first point is that youth is an asset for sustainable development, and it is our responsibility in FAO to empower them. This means that, in our projects and programs, we should not forget about youth, but rather integrate youth into the design, implementation of our programs. The second point is that unless agriculture and forestry are profitable and beneficial for the youth, we will see more and more youth are going to leave these sectors and find better opportunity elsewhere in urban centers and cities. Last but not least, and this is for our own internal reflection and discussion, in our view, FAO through Forestry Department should build concrete youth development programs for long-term impacts and outcome, and should not treat youth programs and projects haphazardly, but rather put it in the strategic intervention or strategic plans of the forestry activities in the regions, in the countries, and also at global levels. With that, I would like to thank all of you for your attention to this presentation. And now I would like to hand over back to Eva in Rome. Eva, please.
away because unfortunately I have to go to another meeting. I just wanted to ask one question before. The examples we have seen are all from agriculture. And they're great, and it was establishing school gardens and these things is a great way of getting youth engaged. Vegetables, of course, are something that grows very quickly. You can see your success also very quickly, and then if you grow vegetables for your school garden, you can also eat them. So that's an added incentive for youth to get engaged in these activities. I imagine that it's probably a little bit more difficult to get them excited and engaged about forestry. And I just wanted to ask you if you have some examples of that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Eva. In view of your limited time on the innovative projects that each country would select, they have devised competitions, used innovative proposals, and so forth. And it is very clear that agriculture is more preferred by those countries. So I think also because of the returns of these agriculture activities are much more quicker compared to forestry. Do we have example on forestry activities? Through these small projects, we do not have specific examples from forestry. But if you look at Nepal and Vietnam, those youth are from rural area in the forest agriculture's context. Even in Nepal, the activities are actually took place in the area that were considered forestry area, although these are abandoned forest areas. In other projects, though, we work with this institution, Yakap Kalikasan. We have been working with them for over 10 years to actually raise awareness about the importance of forestry for our environment and also future. So I think that's what I can answer. Over to you again.
Thank you, Yurdi. Are there any questions from the audience or anyone logged online? Can we see the questions? If to the audience in headquarters first, anyone has a question? Yes, please. Introduce yourself and introduce the question.
Thank you. Great. My name is Peter Wobst. I'm coordinating the rural employment work at FAO in on what you have been presenting. Just on the last point that Eva raised, obviously we all realized that there were limited examples from forestry or even forest products, and I think it needs a little bit more digging deeper. Obviously, if you also work in these peri-urban environments that we saw, for instance, for the school feeding, well, then it's difficult to deal with forest. It's easier to then deal with this kind of vertical agricultural production. But I think regarding your last point on your last slide, the FAO departmental program on youth or development programs dealing with youth, I guess that would be an excellent idea. I think that would be very welcome from a corporate level. I think you can maybe reach out and look over the shoulders of your sister department, the fisheries department. They have an entire team by now that calls itself the Decent Work Team, and they deal with issues that we in ESP are dealing with as well: youth employment, child labor in fisheries, forced labor, etc. And I think there you can learn a little bit how particular technical department can actually organize itself within its existing program. And obviously they are guided by the Blue Growth program with its 4 components. You can really integrate these issues of youth. And this is something that I wanted to add to the question of Eva as well. It is important, I think, and I very much congratulate you on this project to have specific youth projects and programs, but it is equally important, and we see this also through our policy work, that you actually, and I try to avoid now the word mainstream, but that you explicitly consider youth in your mainstream programs. So I think you have a really extensive program on forestry from the different entry points, managing forests, etc., etc. And I think if somebody spends a minute to think how concretely youth could be considered and how these programs could be more youth inclusive and how youth inclusiveness could become a secondary objective, I guess that would be really great. That's on the program side. On Nepal, I just wanted to mention, I really like to see this context of the youth out-migration. And what you presented was then basically more on the, let's say, preventive side. How do I actually generate opportunities for youth who are prone to potentially out-migrate? But with that high share of already out-migrated youth, you could also think about how can remittances of those migrants actually be used for local development, and whether there's even a possibility of engagement of returnees who actually might come back to their respective areas. And then I have one technical comment on the challenges and the disadvantages for youth that you presented in the background. Those were all true, but they also apply for non-youth as well, right? And I think it's always very important when you talk about the challenges, the disadvantages, and the barriers for youth, that you point out that over and above the regular challenges that all poor people face, there are specific youth challenges. So for instance, just the fact that some of them are underage, so the youth group 15 to 17 years old, they're underage, so they can't sign a legal contract, so they can't even open a bank account, right? How do they actually obtain credit? Or that most land acquisition works through heritage, but that only is at a stage basically where you're not a youth anymore. So access to land is a particular youth issue, etc., etc. So I think it's important to keep these specific youth challenges in mind in order to find solutions that are specifically targeting youth. So let me recommend you again on the project, and good luck with your further development of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Peter. This is, I take this as suggestions, and we take this in.
Earlier, it's really one of the challenges actually in terms of handling this project, because agriculture is fast, quick, easy results, and forestry, it would take more investment. So that's, I think, one of the points that we have to take note if we want to upscale, if we want to further engage youth in these sectors, because we want more investment, we want more young people to engage in forestry. In terms of mainstreaming youth, you are correct. Sometimes we have to admit that here, not only in FAO, but if you see projects, it's just a top up, add on. Youth is just an add on or just an icing on the cake. If we want to engage with, if we're serious in this work, I think it should not just be an icing on the cake. It should be a feeling inside the cake, because in the end, it's all integrated. You've also mentioned earlier that in terms of migration and remittances, youth has a role in this. So a lot of young people migrated and brings back resources to their communities. And if this changes the land use, they would construct houses. There's an impact to the land use dynamics. It's not just the rural-urban linkages has also a role in this. So I think your comments are on point in terms of if we want to further evolve this, develop further this project. I think those comments are necessary to be integrated, considered in this endeavor.
Thank you for the response. From the head. Anybody online? Can you see if it's the
Dave, can you hear me? This is
please,
Peter.
Please, this is Peter
Yes.
Chuka. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I don't know if I'm visible. The camera is on anyway. Just very quickly, I would like to congratulate Yurdi and the whole team, because this is really great work, and it opens a window of opportunity for a number of other actions. And one particular which may be far-fetched, if you like, but especially the introduction when Yurdi was talking about the disconnect between young people and the environment reminded me of the fact that actually the next International Day of Forest, which will deal with forest and education, to a very large extent will be dealing with that problem. And based on the great successes, even if this was not really from forestry, the field experiences, but I really would like to invite Yurdi and everybody in the team who is interested in that to join the think tank that we are creating these days with the twofold objective. One is to develop ideas and key messages for the International Day of Forest, talking about education. And in education, we don't mean necessarily forestry education, but education about forests for the general public, young and not so young people alike. And also to think a little bit about how the education work. It somehow appeared in Yurdi's conclusions one way or another could be boosted, because we also have mandate from the regional forestry commissions and COFO as well. So if you are interested in being part of this exercise, you are very, very much welcome to join. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Nice to hear from you. Yes, of course, please engage us in this process. Mainly Maria, Paula, and myself will be very happy to contribute to the extent that we can. So thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Dawei, do you hear me? Dawei?
We can hear Thomas.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
We love.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you in RAP, and good morning to colleagues in headquarters. As Yurdi said, I'm currently in China, and I just wanted to give mountain agriculture and nutrition and governance, which is organized in the context of the Zero Hunger Initiative. So I'm back to my roots in a way on mountains. That's great. But the thing is that countries obviously from Asia, and today we had a very interesting national reports, and all of them, they highlighted the issue of youth involvement and the issue of migration and so on. And common denominator which came out, the first is obviously to promote opportunities for education in mountain areas, and we could say in rural areas, obviously, for youth. So to really see what options can be added, to the traditional ones, be it in enterprise development, be it in small, niche production and so on. And the third one was interesting yesterday. There was of e-commerce from mountain products. So the whole issue of e-commerce, which is growing and so on, and I personally think there is a huge opportunity for youth to be involved and to opportunities how to have promotion of mountain products and e-commerce. I'm just saying these few things because they are just fresh in my mind here, coming from this conference, and they fit very much. We aspire, in fact, with this project and the future of it. So thank you very much. This is just fresh from what is happening here in China. Just a few comments to what you just presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It's nice to hear your experience as you speak now in China. We look forward to discussing this further with you when you are coming back. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Colleague in Tom referred to, we couldn't hear. We just, I guess it was interrupted somehow. I heard the third point, which is e-commerce. What's the first and second comments point?
Yeah, I think Thomas mentioned an out-migration, meaning that youth are leaving the rural areas to other countries. The third one, you are right, is about the potentials of youth to engage in the e-commerce to promote the mountain products. The second one, actually, it was an interruption. I didn't really get it, but probably Thomas can repeat this.
Yeah, sorry. Also here there is also some from time to time some interruptions. I think the second point I mentioned highlighted the need to diversify opportunities in rural areas, in this case of mountain areas, specifically for youth. So diversifying options, that could be in terms of developing, value chains of products. That could also be developing opportunities of enterprise development right in mountain areas, so that youth don't have to migrate. The points, I think, under the second issue I wanted to mention. Was that, did you get this?
Yeah, that's pretty clear now, Thomas. Doe, do you get it?
Yes, we do. That's very good. Online or question from the audience in headquarters?
Hello, Doe, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I did pose a question in the chat box for the colleagues in the FAO RAP. But now that my microphone is working, I can repeat it here as well. So thank you, first of all, thank you very much for the presentations, also for the 3 great examples of youth and innovative work that's being done in the region. I think for sure the thing that came up was the economic drivers, and so the lack of livable wages and jobs that hinder youth and sort of drive them out of the rural areas. And so I know that we focused on the work that's being done in terms of awareness and asking youth to begin to appreciate forests. But on an institutional level, do you think that we're doing enough to foster sort of innovation and these kinds of innovative solutions that you actually need to even get to a livable wage within the agricultural industry, or is there more that we can do in terms of providing small grants or accelerator programs or these kinds of solutions where, again, we're combating specifically that economic driver, because it is a much easier choice and a more profitable choice, I think, to leave and go to a city and get let's say, an easier job than having to innovate to merely make a living. So.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for the comment. RAP office has any response to the comment?
Yes, of course. I really believe that the issue of youth is really deeply embedded in our society. So I think at an institutional level, there's so much gap, and we can do better it should not just be a vicious cycle of small grants and then a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's but what I've said earlier, it should not just be an icing on the cake in terms of our projects, because I think this issue if this is very deep, and that's why we should also provide more actions towards addressing this. So I think here in RAP, we have engaged. There's a colleague who has a project with ILO in working on decent income in Pakistan. So I think there are cases on that, but in terms of integrating further for a longer long-term outcomes and also impacts, we can do better. Maybe Yurdi has an additional point.
No, no, you said most of the things, but Khalil, nice to hear from you again, of course. I think speaking from the forestry programs, I don't think we have done enough. Yeah. The way I say this, because it will be more important to program this youth engagement and reflect it in our financial budgeting plans as well. So far, as you can see, even this project, it is called an innovative project. It is a small project. So we would like also that's why I proposed these three things in the last slides that I presented, that we should build, a strategic program on this consciously, not just, ticking the box. Yeah. We have invited youth to this meeting, then that's it. No, I think we should go deeper than that. But I appreciate your comment.
I will give the
excited about this, right? I'm usually not participating in your forestry technical network meetings, so I take the opportunity to get back on some of the background that you actually gave, and you said 1/5 of the youth are in need, so neither in education, employment, or training. I think what's even more important, and it came later on a little bit as well, is that even if youth are in employment, they very often, through these disadvantages that they experience, are not making any kind of decent living. So you have a stark underemployment, and through this you have this phenomenon of working poor. So maybe you want to use that concept of working poverty in order to motivate some of the work on getting youth into better employment. In terms of motivation, you also showed a couple of numbers, how the youth numbers in absolute terms are still growing from 22 million to 24 between 2030 and 2050. That's not very impressive, right? Because obviously the growth there has tapered off already in most Asian countries, which is very, very different from Africa, where this youth bulge is still to come, and actually nominal numbers are going to grow way into 2050, 2080 even, right? So the argument here should actually be slightly different, and you should say, look, this youth bulge in Asia has taken place already. Asia does have the largest youth population, but apparently the economy, and especially the rural economy, through lack of economic, agricultural induced transformation, has not provided for the economic opportunities for youth, and that's why you have them actually moving out. So we need to actually look into better opportunities for those who are there already, and not only in 10 or in 20 years. And given the economic development of many of these rural regions, I think you have actually excellent opportunities. But some of your examples were not innovative, I thought, right? I mean, obviously this sort of more modern pig raising and the diversification, I think there were many innovative elements governments. But then the last country example, there were many occupations that looked more like survival than being really innovative agricultural operations. So there you might also have an eye on that we are really promoting as FAO innovative opportunities for youth in order to really make the rural space attractive for them to engage in economic opportunities. Thank you.
Any last minutes, last comments from the colleagues from Rob?
No, we would like to thank Peter from ESP. I think we also would like to build this communication with you because in a forestry team, we don't have so much knowledge as you have in ESP on decent work, of this economic opportunity. So I'm very pleased that you are here today. So I hope to build more communication with you and with our small team working on the youth program here. So thank you very much, Peter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, for the presenters, Yurdi and Paula, and anyone else, I guess this webinar will be recorded and will be available to the colleague who cannot be here today. Thanks again and have a good rest of the day to all of you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.